Good evening and welcome to the Monterey Bay Aquarium. My name is Jonathan and I will be your host for the next 1 hour celebrating all things October and Monterey Bay Aquarium. Now, this is our Aquarium Live virtual members and donors night. And as you know, Halloween is just around the corner. Now, I don't know about you, but I love it. I love Halloween. I was raised in a small Midwestern town, and Halloween to me was a community coming together. And that's what tonight is for us as well. It's a community, it's the donors and it's the members, it's everyone who makes the Monterey Bay Aquarium special. And tonight we are going to come together virtually, something we've never done before. But innovation is nothing new for us here. I'm excited to share all the excitement. Now, I myself am dressed as William Beebe, one of my heroes. In the 1930s, Mr. Beebe was one of the first individuals to ever go into the deep sea. He peered out of a tiny hole, risking his life to be the first human to ever see this hidden world. Now, spooky, dark, eerie, monstrous are words often used to describe the deep sea. So tonight, that is our Halloween theme, the deep. Now, before we go any farther, I'd like to kick it over to our executive director, Miss Julie Packard.
Thank you, and welcome everyone to this evening. It's so fun to be with you. First of all, my apologies for not wearing a costume tonight. I hope you are. I am kind of not a costume person, but you know what I love? The festive fall decor. So I have some of that behind me. Also, owls, love owls. Who doesn't love owls, right? So I just want to thank all of you for being with us. I know it's been such a tough year for everyone. Are we over 2020 or what? Never mind that. But I really want to thank all of you for all of your support. That, of course, is more important than ever before. October is our anniversary month. And I want to acknowledge the super cool fact that 2,500 households are charter members, meaning those of you who've been with us for 36 years and renewed every single year. That's so awesome. And I thank you so much. And you know who you are. It's fantastic. We've all been through a lot. The aquarium has grown and changed so much over those years. We've done so much thanks to your support. Also, we have 15,000 households who have been with us for 10 years, which is an amazing commitment. And I thank all of you for that. So needless to say, member and donor support is more important than ever in this crazy year that we're going through that looks like it's going to continue going for a while. I wish I had some amazing reopening news for you. Believe me, do I wish that. We're working as hard as we can to get the state to realize that we have a really safe reopening plan along with our other aquarium and museum colleagues. And of course that the top priority is to get Monterey County into a COVID recovery place and take care of our community and get everyone back to health. So really looking forward to having you back with us at the aquarium in person. And again, really hope you'll all renew your memberships. I can't tell you how much we appreciate your support and how important it's been, especially in this year. And honestly, because we don't really have any specific opening date in sight, that support's more than ever. You're supporting incredible work that's going on, like this fun event tonight. Awesome work by our education team and incredible conservation work. And of course, the deep sea exhibit coming up and all this raising awareness about the deep sea. It's amazing William Beebe was down there in the 30s. It's been decades and decades and decades since people have tried to get down there again. And MBARE, our partner institution, is discovering so much about the deep sea. So let the deep sea extravaganza begin. Thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Thank you so much, Julie. And I have to say right now, when she quotes those numbers of charter members and people who've been here over 10 years, it is absolutely mind-blowing to me. The passion that this institution has created over the years. I've only been here for a few years, but I am part of that. I feel like I am connected to the ocean in a way that I never felt possible before. And I can't help but think that Julie is a huge part of that. Your passion is contagious. What you're doing here is nothing short of extraordinary. And I have to give a shout out to Mr. David Packard as well. Over 30 years ago, he founded this aquarium, but he also founded the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute, and that's MBARE. Now, MBARE has been doing deep sea research That research will be on exhibit here. So, two things that Mr. David Packard created are coming together to bring the deep sea to the public in a way that William Beebe, Elsie Bosselman, and others only dreamed possible. Now, I keep talking about community, and I'm going to do it all night because it's important to me. We are out there, we're in our homes, we're together, but we're also separated. But tonight is an opportunity for you to call your friends and family on the phone. You may know other members, give them a call and say, let's watch this member night together. Because we may not be physically able to get together, but there is no reason that we cannot have a shared experience. And that to me is what this aquarium does. It brings people from around the world together so we can all be inspired to protect the ocean. Now, I, again, am a huge fan of the deep sea. We're going to talk about that in just a second. But here's what I'd like you to do to be part of that community. I don't want this to be a monologue. I want it to be a dialogue. We're asking you to take a photo of yourself in your favorite costume. Take that photo, upload it to Instagram, and you're going to put a hashtag on there. The hashtag is going to be MBA Halloween 2020. Hashtag MBA Halloween 2020. Now that allows not only us, but every other person watching to see you, connect with you. What's your best deep sea creature costume? What's your favorite Halloween costume? So do that now. Please upload it so we can all share it together. Now, as Julie said, we are going to delve into the deep sea, and I am super excited about these first animals that you're going to get to see. These are some incredible deep sea creatures. So ladies and gentlemen, prepare yourself for the awesome deep sea creatures.
Well, hey, hi everyone. How we all doing? Hi, Jonathan.
I really had a big build up there. I was going to introduce three amazing deep sea creatures.
Yeah. That's us. We're deep sea creatures from the Halloween zone. We've come into the Kelp Forest to give thanks for all this Kelp Forest does for us deep sea creatures.
Hold on. I'm not a scientist here, but I've never heard of the Halloween zone. I've heard of the midnight zone where sun no longer reaches the water, but I've never heard of the Halloween zone.
Oh, yeah. It's just like the midnight zone, but only spookier.
Okay. All right. I'll accept that. Now, I'm going to analyze this a little bit, my friend. It looks like that one of those deep sea creatures is a lion.
Oh, yeah, that's my friend, the deep sea lionfish over there.
Now, lionfish are usually in tropical waters, and they are incredibly smaller than that enormous fish that you're describing.
Oh, yeah. He looks big, but you got to imagine, you're looking through air, through glass into water, and that's going to magnify things by 25%. So while he might look 6 feet tall, he's actually just really about that big. Just tiny.
Okay, I don't know how scientifically sound that is. So if there's any students at home taking notes, I highly recommend that you don't turn that in as a homework assignment. I don't trust that. I'm going to jump over to the fish right to your right, that big ghost-like fish. What's going on with that fish?
Oh, it's a ghost shrimp. Yeah, it's a ghost shrimp over there, of course. Obvious.
And the size of that ghost shrimp implies that it is a jumbo ghost shrimp.
That's right. You're getting it, Jonathan. You're catching on.
Okay, that was my honorary dad joke of the night. Now, I understand the lionfish. I understand the ghost shrimp. But my question is this. I cannot wait to hear your explanation for this one. What deep sea creature are you?
Well, I mean, Jonathan, I'm just a scarecrow. It's Halloween. Come on.
Okay, all right, you got me on that one. Now, I understand that Halloween is filled with candy and giving out candy. Now, are you going to be giving out some candy tonight to those animals in the exhibit?
I don't have the traditional human candy, but I got this fish food. I got some food for these fish, and they love it. It is like candy for them. And the aquarists tell me they do try to sneak some vitamins in there.
Well, that's a good way to do it. So you're not really distributing candy, but it's candy-like to those animals. Now, James, I'm sorry, Mr. Scarecrow, I hear I talk a lot about how spooky the Kelp Forest is. So I want us to challenge ourselves to make this Kelp Forest dive a spooky Kelp Forest dive. What do you got for me?
Well, let's see. We do have some interesting creatures in here. And, one of my favorites is the sheephead. It's got a big, powerful jaw, and it eats things called urchins. And urchins are a big, spiky ball. So that's pretty crazy, right? This thing puts spikes in its mouth and eats it. Who does that?
That is an incredible animal. Now, isn't the sheephead a giant orange, black, and white animal with a crushing jaw and huge teeth?
Yes, that is it. It's very Halloweeny. I don't see him today, and that makes me realize that he is in the rat family, and those animals actually like to go to sleep at night. So he might be tucked away taking a nap until daytime.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think that those animals actually build a cocoon out of mucus and then sleep inside the mucus cocoon. Is that correct?
Are you serious? Mucus cocoon? Are you serious? You're kidding, right? That's gross.
That's my understanding.
So if I was a sheephead, I'd have to cover myself in a mucus cocoon and go to bed.
That's
I don't know
right.
about that, kids. I don't know.
Well, it's a very spooky way to sleep. So anybody who wakes up tomorrow wrapped in a mucus cocoon, you may be a sheephead, or you might need to go see your doctor. Now, we also have the woofeel in that exhibit. The woofeel, that sounds like a kind of a Halloween type of animal.
Yeah, he likes to hide. They like to hide in crevices and caves, and they barely come out, but only just see their head. And yeah, they have another big, powerful jaw, another urchin eater out there in the wild. So we need some of those fish to control those urchins. And the woofeel, the sheephead, and even our friendly, cute little otters, they all contribute to those.
Now, I do have to point out, I've been watching these sharks circling you. Perhaps they're sizing you up, some kind of a Halloween, sort of a scary, nightmarish tradition. The sharks circling, waiting for their chance to bite down on you, James. Is that what's happening?
Well, yeah, we'd like to say that, but no. These are actually probably the most cuddly little puppy dogs in this whole exhibit. You get a hand feed one of them. And in the wild, they actually like to eat little things like innkeeper worms, but they're amazing creatures. They have these amazing snout sensory organs on their nose, and they can actually sense electrical impulses in the ground from the animals. So that's how they cruise around and find their prey.
That's pretty. That's something, right? That's like a little ESP sort of. I can sense things that I can't see, sort of thing. Now,
I don't mean to interrupt, but I see the sheephead. We woke him up.
He woke up out of his mucus cocoon.
He did.
Now, again, that's that large orange, black and white fish. Very pronounced teeth. Very big, beautiful fish. Now, James, we've talked a little bit. We've made the kelp forest spooky, but here's my question. This theme tonight is deep sea. How are we connecting the kelp forest to something so far away from the kelp forest?
Yes. Where is that connection? Well, as most people out there, probably pretty educated, they know that everything's kind of connected. We're really learning that. And the deep sea and the shallow kelp forest is no different. And now, if you notice during the fall, we're starting to get the kelp is dying back. The summertime, it's just super lush, lots of sunlight. The fronds are getting really big. And now, as we're losing that light, they're dying back and those fronds fall off. And what happens is those fronds drift down into the deep sea, and they provide a super important nutrient and food source for those animals. So without this kelp forest, it's one of the major impacts on that deep. So again, it's just connected, all connected.
And now when we talk about the deep, it sounds like sometimes it's some kind of distant planet or far away from land. But the reality is here at the Monterey Bay Aquarium, everyone who comes here and stands on our back deck, they're literally looking out on the canyon that lies beneath the water. Can you talk about that Monterey Bay Canyon?
Yeah. It's one of the most fascinating features of this area is that deep sea canyon. And that Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institution, or MBARI as we like to call it, they utilize that. Being so close, they could get out there, they could dive down and ROVs and get down there and explore what's down there with very few resources compared to somewhere else in the world. So it's so amazing that even there's actually spots where the canyon gets close enough to shore that scuba divers can access little threads of it. They don't go thousands of feet deep, by the way, but you can be on the edge of that canyon and see amazing creatures.
That is extraordinary. Now, if I'm not correct, let me know, James, but the canyon in the bay, again, just a few miles back here, it rivals the Grand Canyon. So anyone who's ever stood on the rim of the Grand Canyon and looked at the vastness and the depth of that canyon, that is what lies right here outside the Monterey Bay Aquarium. Right, James?
Yeah, absolutely. That is very correct, Jonathan. Yeah, it's right there. And the walls are almost identical, the same size. The Grand Canyon walls are a little bit bigger, but if you take the amount of water on top of the canyon, it's extremely deep.
Now, I'm going to wrap up here pretty soon with this dive, but I do want to talk about one more thing. I've heard a lot about marine snow. So, because the kelp forest is one of the most dense environments of diversity, there's so many animals that live in the kelp forest, they actually create an incredibly nutrient-rich bay, and that does something for the deep, right, James?
Yeah, again, another connection to that deep is all that nutrient, all that biomass as it decays and breaks down. You get what's called marine snow. So almost exactly what you would think. Little pieces of detritus or dead organic matter drifting down, and it looks like snow falling on the deep, and another important nutrient source for those animals that inhabit that zone of the ocean.
So something that we need to think about is people who live on land, everything that goes from land to water can eventually make its way to the deep. So by using water bottles, like having aluminum water bottles or not using plastic bags, what I do is I prevent a little bit of plastic from making its way to this unbelievable, unseen planet, this world that lives below the waves. Now, James, do you have anything to wrap up with before we move away from the dive?
I just want to thank everyone for tuning in. I had a blast. We had a blast. We love all of you. We miss you. We can't wait to see you soon. And have a great rest of your night. Happy Halloween, everybody.
Thank you so much, James. Thank you and your deep sea creatures for making an appearance tonight. Now, again, we are doing quite a bit tonight. We have an epic dance party coming up right after this. And here's what I encourage you to do. I want to see those dances. I want to see those moves. There's nothing I like more than being here on October, watching everyone bust a move. But now, for the first time, you can literally dance like nobody's watching. But I'm going to invite you to cut a rug in your own house, turn up that music as loud as you can, and have some fun. But I want you to shoot some videos of those dance moves. Show us what you got. Put them on Instagram, hashtag MBA Halloween 2020. I can't wait to see them. Now, after the first round of music, we are going to have an amazing scary tale by Natalia Hurley. So get prepared for that. Dim down the lights, get close to your computer. And then after that, we are going to have an animal encounter that is, frankly, the most extraordinary one I've ever had. So I cannot tell you enough about how excited I am about this encounter. There is an animal who has lived in this aquarium for the past 2.5 years. And I can promise you that 99.9% of you have never seen this animal. And the reason we're doing all this tonight is because we really appreciate our members, we appreciate our donors. And again, you're not part of the Monterey Bay Aquarium, you are the Monterey Bay Aquarium. So tonight is your night. Cut a rug, have some fun, and really, really enjoy this amazing community. Now I'm going to kick it over to you, Aaron. DNA Entertainment is going to rock the house, and let's just have some fun. All right, Aaron?
Well, thank you, Jonathan. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, donors and members of the Monterey Bay Aquarium. I'm really excited to be here tonight. Obviously, we would love to be in person, dancing on the floor with the lights and the kelp forest behind us. But, you know, the Monterey Bay Aquarium has done it again. They're bringing together a unique experience for everybody here. So we're here. I'm here in the deep sea with you. We got some scary noises going on. We have to adventure through this and find our way to our happy spot. And we're going to do that with you guys. So turn the lights down, turn the bass up, and let's have a good time. And make sure that you go on Instagram and Twitter and you put that hashtag in there, show videos and pictures of you having a good time, and let's do it.
stars align, tell me it's time. 'Cause we got something new and know what a wonderful feeling. Just like a magnet, we're just like a magnet. The things we hold can be taken for granted. Though I know that it has always been you. I can't help it, I'm so drawn to each other. Wanna level up with you. Wanna make you feel it too. Wanna come around and move closer. Yeah, yeah. As we dance, as we move, as we fall off the ground, as we blow, as we go, we flow to 4-inch heels. Wanna level up with you. Stride on the sidewalk. Wanna make you feel it too. Oh, I need. Wanna come around and move closer. Just hearing your sweet talk. As we dance, as we move, as we fall, as you spin me off the ground. As we go, into each other.
Gotta love a dancing penguin. That's awesome. right, we're gonna bring the energy down a little bit, get a little tropical. All right, remember to keep your hands in the air. Make sure it's safe distance, make sure the pets are safe. And let's continue on. This is going to be one of my last songs for this set, but I'll be back later after some more stories, and then you got to stay to the end. You got to see what the aquarium has for you at the end of this show, so definitely stick around for that. All right. I hope that got the blood going. Hope we're a little sweaty, a little sort of jazzed up. We got out of that scary Halloween situation there, but we're still in the deeps, which is a great theme for tonight. And so we want to go ahead and maybe keep the lights a little lower. Rest your dancing feet. Get up in the couch with the kids and the pets, or maybe your favorite blanket, and let's enter the Monterey Aquarium. So we want to hear some spooky stories from the long and storied past in the Monterey Bay Aquarium. And to do that is our colleague, Natalia Hurley. So without further ado, take it away, Natalia. I'll be back in just a bit.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm Natalia Hurley. I am a sea dragon today. I would love to tell you about some spooky, scary, and maybe even paranormal activities that have happened here at the aquarium. Over the years, we've had staff, volunteers, and sometimes even guests report some interesting and a little weird things that have happened to them while they were here. If you didn't know, the aquarium was built on an old abandoned cannery site. And when our founders built the aquarium, they really wanted to preserve part of the original cannery, If you've been here before, you've seen the giant metal steam boilers in our main entrance. But what if things like the boilers weren't the only things that were preserved? I'll start with one story. One night, one of our staff members was getting ready for an aquarium sleepover. And she was talking to some of her volunteer teens that were going to be helping that night. And one of the teens asked her, "Have you ever heard any rumors about some of the Hovden cannery worker ghosts that like to hang out around those giant boilers?" And she said, "No way. I've been here for over 10 years. I've never seen anything strange happen with those boilers. That's all a rumor." But she might have spoken a little too soon, because that same night, as everyone was getting tucked away, ready to go to sleep underneath their favorite exhibit, she's doing her rounds, and out of the corner of her eye, she notices a door on the second story of those same boilers, slightly ajar. She thought to herself, "That's a little strange. I've never noticed that door open." And even though the hairs on the back of her neck were slightly elevated, she thought, "It's just something I've never noticed before." So she moved on about her night, and a little later on, she's doing another round, and that same door, the one that was slightly ajar, all of a sudden was wide open. That was a little strange. She didn't even know there was a way to get up there, but it must have been somebody trying to play a joke on her. So she asked the security officer, "Have you ever noticed that door on the second story of the boilers open?" He said, "No way. You're seeing things. Those doors are not meant to ever open or close. There's not even a way to get up there." Very peculiar. It's not the only strange thing that's happened at the boilers. Another evening, actually, I think it was even getting ready for one of our member nights. There were decorations all over the place, and one of our staff members looked over and saw the silhouette of a person standing in that same spot of the boilers. She did a double take. There's no way to get up there. And on that double take, do you think she saw anyone still there? If you guessed no, you're right. No one was up there. And she swears to this day that it wasn't a trick of the eye. It wasn't one of the decorations. Somebody was really standing up there. So we have staff here at the aquarium 24 hours a day around the clock. When you and I are sleeping, tucked away, nice and cozy in our beds at night, we have staff making sure that the water is running, the exhibits and the animals are safe, and security officers are doing rounds, making sure all the doors are locked and secured. So imagine walking around the dark aquarium at night. You think you're the only one here, and all of a sudden, you hear footsteps behind you. And it gets closer, and it gets closer. And that's exactly one of the things that have happened before. One of my dear friends, our security manager, Kevin, who actually likes to play jokes on all of us. It's his way of keeping things fun at work. He's walking through the aquarium, and he hears footsteps. And all of a sudden, there's the jingling of keys. And he just thought, it must be somebody from the control room trying to spook me. So all of a sudden, he hears the footsteps getting closer, and he turns around right away. There's no one there. So then he thinks maybe they're just really good at hiding. He heads over to our bridge, thinking, there's nowhere to hide on the bridge. I'm definitely going to catch them. So they're walking along the bridge, and Kevin hears those footsteps again, and the keys jingling again. And as they get closer and closer, he thinks, I'm going to catch him, turns around, and all he sees is wet footsteps on the bridge behind him, but nowhere to be seen. Anyone was around. So while we have creepy, jittery stories like that, my favorite is one night our security officer was doing rounds outside the aquarium. And it's about 1 o'clock in the morning, and off in the distance, he hears the laughter of little children. So he thought, that's strange. It's definitely past bedtime. There shouldn't be any little kids walking around. And so he makes his way over to Hovden Way, over by our members entrance. And if you remember, we have giant iron gates that lock at night. No way to get through. So as he gets closer, he hears the sound of children laughing, running towards the deck. And as he gets closer, he sees wet footprints again, leading from Cannery Row almost as if they walked through the iron gates and then they just slowly disappear. So you might think that might be a little strange. Is it just the trick of the eye? Are some of our staff members just tired and they're imagining things? What would you say if you're walking through the open sea and you came across a lady dressed in all black? I've heard plenty of stories from some of my friends that work here and volunteer here of this mystery woman dressed in black. And one night, one of our control room staff was walking through our Oceans Travelers Gallery. And they walked past, and there was a woman sitting on one of our benches, and they politely said hello, and she nodded her head in greeting. But as they took a few more steps, they realized, wait a minute, it's 1:30 in the morning. There shouldn't be anyone here. So they quickly turn around and they're calling security to report somebody's in the building, and they go back. And you may have already have guessed it. Do you think anyone was still sitting on that bench? No. So hopefully I've given you some heebie-jeebies and spooked you out a little bit for the evening. And as you grab your loved ones close and hopefully you don't find anything scary in your house tonight, how about we get up a little bit again and wiggle out some of those spooky, creepy crawlies? And Aaron, how about you take us back to some dancing?
Okay, I'm legitimately scared. Thank you, Natalia. All right, let's shake that off. And we'll get back to, we're going to turn up the BPM a little bit, sweat a little bit more. Let's take it out strong, have a good time, dance around. Remember to post your pictures up on Instagram with the hashtag, and let's get to it. All right, everybody, get your hands up. Make sure you sing it out loud, even though there's no words. Get up and dance around. Make sure we've got a few more minutes left, so have some fun. Get in there. Here we go. We got just a couple more tracks, so get those dancing in there, and then we got to stick around. We got a great surprise for you at the end of the show. Here we go. Let's see it. Hands in the air. Freak out your pets.
Let us get tonight. Let us get tonight.
All right, that is it. Thank you so much, everybody, for rocking out with me. I'm a little short of breath right now, so I at least got after pretty good. So thank you so much. Now it's time for really kind of the special surprise of the night. I just want to thank everyone again for sticking around all the way to the end, members and donors, and your great support of the Monterey Bay Aquarium. So joining us is a inky friend from the depths, somewhere where man rarely ever goes and light never penetrates. So we have Jonathan, who's with Mary over at the animal culture lab, and he's going to show us. They're going to show us a very special creature that we have been really excited to show you. So thank you so much for rocking out with me, and we'll just send it over to Jonathan.
Hey, thank you so much, Aaron. For a second, I thought you were describing me as an animal that lived in the inky depth where light does not reach, because I haven't cleaned my house in quite a while. But I am in one of the most exclusive rooms at the Monterey Bay Aquarium. This is a room that I have never been into before tonight, and it is a very, very special animal that lives here. Now, this is the type of thing that we do for our members and our donors. And without further ado, I present Mary.
Thanks, Jonathan. Hi, my name is Mary. I'm one of the senior aquarists here at the Monterey Bay Aquarium, and I am here to give you a sneak peek of one of our giant isopods. Appropriate for Halloween. These guys are going to be featured in our upcoming exhibition, Into the Deep, Exploring Our Undiscovered Ocean. And if you take a look at it, you may think, wow, that looks a lot like a roly-poly that I might see in my backyard. And you would be right. These guys are isopods, just like they are. They're terrestrial isopods. These are marine isopods. And these are obviously much bigger than you are used to seeing in your garden, hopefully.
Now, Mary, you were talking about how this is from in the deep. So can you tell us how far these animals would live in the ocean?
Yeah, so they can start off at about 500 feet or so, but they can go down thousands of feet. So these are not the kind of animals that you're going to see on a regular scuba dive trip.
So the biggest question I would have to ask is, how do you take an animal, a creature that lives so far down, where the pressure must be so intense, and then you have it just inches below the surface of the water?
Well, deep sea animals are actually able to come fairly shallow, a lot of them, on a regular basis. In fact, a lot of them participate in what are called vertical migrations, where they will actually come from the depths all the way to about midwater on a regular basis, just as part of their normal lifestyle. There are some fish and other creatures that do have issues, and usually with fish, they have that swim bladder, that gas bladder, that they use to help control their body position within the water column, just like scuba divers do with their BCD, their buoyancy control device. And so if that comes into play, then yes, and we bring them to the surface too fast, that's a problem. But these guys, as long as we do it slowly, we're okay. Honestly, the biggest thing for them is temperature and light. That's what's most important when we're bringing these guys to the surface.
And of course, the care of these animals is the utmost important, which is one of the reasons that we keep this room so secure. We have the red light here so it doesn't affect the animals. Now, I'm from the Midwest. I have little roly-polies. So much tinier than that. It looks like it's a face sucker, like it's going to leap out of the water at any moment, latch onto my face, and I'm going to have an alien burst out of me. Is that possible at all?
Not that I'm aware of, but it's the deep sea, so who knows? No, generally these guys are going to be going after things that have already died, so scavenging. There have been some instances where they may have gone after some live animals, but most of the time they're going to be eating things like, for example, whale falls, which get studied a lot at the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute, our sister institution. And where a whale dies and it drops down to the bottom of the ocean, it's a huge sudden glut of food. And all the nearby critters come and take advantage of that, because you're not going to have that very often in the deep sea. And these are one of the guys that'll help do that.
And when you're holding that, I find you're very active. Like kicking, a lot of flipping of the tail, a lot of movement, a lot of like I'm going to leap out of the water, any second type things. But they seem also to be pretty static at the same time. So do they eat a lot?
So what they'll do is they'll eat as much as they can when they find a big meal, and then they just sit for a very long time. And there have been some isopods that have been in human care for several years and have been documented not eating. So it's not uncommon for them to go for a really long time.
So I have to be very clear. I make a lot of jokes about them being alien-like and leaping out at me, which is a legitimate fear of mine. But we can't villainize the deep, right? This is a beautiful creature. When you see a giant isopod's face, I'll be honest, it is adorable. My 5-year-old son and my 3-year-old son have stuffed isopods that they sleep with at home every night.
Okay, so I have 2 different sizes of stuffed isopods at home, so I sympathize. No, these guys I think are really amazing. They're not going to leap out and eat your face, but they are a really cool example of how the diversity that you find in the ocean. Isopods in the ocean can go anywhere from a couple millimeters long to many, many inches long. And the fact that this one creature can have so many different lifestyles and body shapes is really, really cool.
Now, they're here for a really great reason. You alluded to Into the Deep. You talked about our relationship with Mbari. There's a really big thing happening in 2022, right?
Yeah, so we're going to be opening up a new exhibition. As I mentioned, it's called Into the Deep, Exploring Our Undiscovered Ocean. And we're going to be featuring a bunch of cool animals from midwater, and also these guys will be in the benthic or seafloor section of the exhibition.
So we'll actually have animals on exhibition that have never been shown on the scale that we're planning on doing. Isn't that correct? Like a pretty amazing endeavor, the size in which we're going to produce this exhibit.
Yes, and as someone who's part of the R&D for that exhibit, it's really intimidating, but we're really excited about it. It's going to be really, really cool. We've been working really hard already for a few years now to get this ready, and it's required work from not only the animal care staff, but also the applied water sciences folks that are making sure the water's just right. These guys need very, very cold and then sometimes very low oxygen water in order to make this happen. So we're really excited about it.
Yeah, so often people think it's just the temperature, but you're right. It's the oxygenation, it's all kinds of the different elements that have to take place there. I have a really strange question as we start to wrap up our delightful evening together. Is it possible for me to touch one of them?
Absolutely. Now you know the proper way to do it.
I do. I have the scientific double fingers.
Yes, two-finger touch. Let's see.
Is there one in particular that I should get?
Let's give that guy a little break. So maybe one of those.
All right. Okay. All right. I'm gonna reach down. Are they slimy at all? Or are they?
No. They feel like
wow!
They feel like a crab.
That's amazing. They have like this hard armor plating.
Yeah.
That is incredible. I'm sorry. This is like, I'm not very coherent right now. But the idea that I can touch an animal that lives so distant from me, it's like reaching into another planet, touching an animal that's never been seen before. So this is really amazing, Mary. Thank you.
You're welcome. And next time you see a roly-poly in your garden, remember, it's a close relative of this guy. So when you're holding that, you're holding a little piece of the deep too.
Well, thank you very much. I love that connection. I love that the deep sea is part of us and we're part of it as well. And that was absolutely a dream of mine. I can't tell you how much that means to me. And so to our donors and all of the people who are members here, thank you for letting my dream come true. And again, thank you for being a part of something so amazing and so incredible. This is, quite frankly, an amazing endeavor. And this is because of you, because of the help you give and because the care you give to this mission. There is nothing better than the idea of inspiring the world. And that is exactly what you're doing as part of the Monterey Bay Aquarium. Now, I'd like to kick it over to Mary just to say goodbye because she's my best friend now.
Thank you guys very much. Happy Halloween. We look forward to showing you guys these up close and personal in 2022.